Hell Yeah podcast presented by Garage Bar Sports. John, we've got a number of Big 12 games this coming weekend, and one of the highlight games, if you're a Cincinnati fan, you have got to be absolutely pumped up. Scott Satterfield, they said he used the word excited 7 times in his press conference earlier this week. So we know he's excited. The fans are going to be excited. What are your thoughts for the Oklahoma Sooners going into the Lions' Den in Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati, the number 16 Sooners?
So I think you're absolutely right, Jared. If I were a Cincinnati fan, I would be thrilled that the first Big 12 game we're hosting the Oklahoma Sooners. As you know, since West Virginia's been in the league, the two named teams that come in, and we were alternating them on the schedule, Texas and Oklahoma, and almost every year those were big games. Now, last year, West Virginia finally got OU for the first time in conference play since we were members of the conference, and OU was down last year, but it was still a big deal. So Cincinnati, to be able to have a name program like the Oklahoma Sooners come in your first Big 12 game, big deal. And it's exciting because it's at Nippert Stadium. Now, Oklahoma and Cincinnati played in a series back when Brian Kelly was the coach and also in Butch Jones's first year. So they played in 2008 in a home and home. The first game was in Norman, which I think was a bit of a blowout. The second game was returned, but they didn't play at Nippert. They played at what was then Paul Brown Stadium, the Bengals Stadium, and it was a close game, a 2 or 3 point win for Oklahoma. And so, Cincinnati has been able to build their program up under Luke Fickell. He did a fantastic job. They made the playoffs 2 years ago. And so, they are a legitimate program. They're not a playoff team this year, but I think they're going to give Oklahoma their money's worth. And I don't know if you've ever been to Nippert Stadium before. I was there when West Virginia won in a game that Rich Rod really needed in, I think, 2002. I want to say Rich Rod's first year and went into Cincinnati and won that game. And of course, we have good history with them in the Big East. But Nippert's a tough place to play, and I think they're going to play OU tough, Jared. What do you think?
Yeah, noon game on Fox. OU heavy favorite. They're two touchdown favorite going into this one. But Dylan Gabriel, I think he's the difference. If they can protect him, Cincinnati has all Big 12 performer, but AP first team All-American since he has on the D line. So can OU do enough to protect Dylan Gabriel, who was 28 of 31, set a record for completion percentage for OU. So they've won 8 of their last 10 Big 12 openers. We all know the history behind OU. So I do think that they go on the road. I think they just have too much talent. And Venables last year, it was his first year. There was a big transition coming after Lincoln Riley. Just the entire mentality of the program from let's face it, they went from an offensive team to more of a defensive team now. Gabriel, a little bit undersized from what we've seen in past year Oklahoma quarterbacks from years ago. But the guy's a player. I mean, we saw him in Morgantown last year where he tried to will the team almost single-handedly, it seemed like, to victory. So, yeah, I like the Sooners to win in this game, but I do think this is going to be a battle. And this is the type of game that makes you battle-tested as you move through the Big 12 gauntlet.
Yeah, agree with you, Jarrett. I think it is going to be a tough test for OU, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Cincinnati's able to win the game. I think Cincinnati will cover the spread's 14 points in favor of OU. And I think if Cincinnati can get off to a good start, as you often see in these games when you're a home underdog, and if you can get off to a good start, get the crowd into it, get your team believing, and put a little bit of doubt into the minds of the OU players at the beginning, I think they'll be in for a long day, and it'll be a close game throughout. So first quarter will be big to determine how Cincinnati plays in the first quarter, how they come out in the first couple drives on offense and on defense. I think is going to determine how the rest of the game goes, and we'll see how they play. I fully expect they'll play well. They're going to be ready for this one.
Yeah, don't sleep on the Bearcats in Nippert Stadium. Don't
For
do it.
sure. For sure. We'll see what happens, Jared. Should be a good one.
Big 12 football. We're back.